morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Thursday, June 30th, 2016. If you want to follow us on Twitter, please go to CATEX TV. There will be no broadcast tomorrow, Friday, July 1st, or Monday, July 4th. The next broadcast will be Tuesday, July 5th. Lloyd's of London has identified that 4% of its global gross written premium is likely to be affected by the British withdrawal from the EU single market. In documents released today at a meeting in London, Lloyd said that about £800 million, or about $1.1 billion of gross written premium could be affected. The European Economic Area accounts for about 11%, or almost £3 billion of Lloyd's total GWP, but about $1.1 billion of that is reinsurance, which is not expected to be affected by the pullout. CEO Inga Beale told managing agents today that Lloyd's will continue to push for a passporting system similar to what it has today during its discussions with the British government. This means during the next 2-year period, while the discussions are being negotiated with the EU, Lloyd's and the Lloyd's market will continue to be subject to Solvency II, and no existing policies or renewals written while Britain is still an EU member will be affected by the referendum. In big political news in London, one of the most prominent faces of the Leave campaign, former Mayor Boris Johnson, has chickened out. He has decided he will not run for Prime Minister and will not run to try to obtain the Conservative Party leadership. Speaking at an event in London today, widely expected to be his announcement for the office, he in fact declined to run. It now seems as if the favorite is going to be Home Secretary Theresa May. She's the bookies' favorite to win the contest, although after the bookies had Remain as a 9-1 favorite, nobody quite knows how valid this favoritism is. Ms. May is 59 years old. Meanwhile, the Egypt Air flight data recorder has begun to yield some information. The cockpit voice recorder is still being repaired in Paris by the French Aviation Agency, but initial information has begun to be gleaned from the flight data recorder. Apparently what's happened is it has confirmed that possible lavatory and avionics smoke did exist in the plane before it crashed in the Mediterranean. It shows signs of high temperature damage and soot in the front part of the plane. This data now is consistent with the information that was received from the ACARS system, the Aircraft Communication Addressing and Reporting System, that had already been made public, showing that there was laboratory and avionics smoke. According to CNN's aviation expert, we will know whether this was a bomb or whether it was a fire. The flight data recorder holds about 25 hours of technical information from plane sensors. Here's what the headline did not reveal. Apparently, the flight was at 37,000 feet when it lost contact above the Mediterranean shortly before the plane entered Egyptian airspace. Then the flight data recorder stopped working. According to the CNN expert, a gentleman by the name of Richard Quest, that's significant. What that says is that whatever happened to the plane happened at that altitude. It was dramatic, it was sudden, and then the plane then plunged. We might have some information on this over the weekend. There was a fire in Kuwait about 9 miles south of the capital of Kuwait City in a home inhabited by guest workers. 9 people were killed. Apparently 6 of them may have been from one family. Their nationalities are not known yet. Earlier this year there had been a massive fish kill in the northeast coast of Vietnam. The kill was so extensive that the army had to be called out to help dispose of the fish. The fishing industry in Vietnam is quite a big business and employs more than 4 million people and is worth about $7 billion a year in exports. Quickly, attention locally began to seize on a new steel plant that had been built by a Taiwanese company. The company is named Formosa Hot Tin Steel. It's a subsidiary of the Formosa Plastics Group. Well, it's now been determined that, in fact, it was the cause of a wastewater discharge from the plant. Fishermen had reported seeing red water coming from pipes leading into the sea shortly before the die-off. The company released a statement saying it was deeply surprised and sorry, adding that it had spent some $45 million since upgrading the wastewater treatment system at the plant. The plant is a $10.6 billion project. That's one of the biggest foreign direct investments in Vietnam. Some more information on that plane crash in Taiwan last year that killed 43 people. TransAsia Airways Flight 235 clipped a bridge and plunged into a river in February of 2015, shortly after taking off from Taipei's Songshan Airport. Miraculously, 15 people survived the crash. Findings by the Taiwanese Aviation Safety Council had revealed that the pilot had shut down the only working engine on the plane. He was heard to exclaim, "Wow, pulled back, wrong throttle." Possibly he thought he was playing a video game. The final report said that the accident was the result of many contributing factors, which culminated in a stall, inducing loss of control. What that technically means might be that, but here's what it actually means. One of the engines was actually malfunctioning before the takeoff, but since the crew didn't perform the normal pre-takeoff procedures, when the corrective actions were needed because they were seeing that the malfunction light was blinking, the pilot, who said, "Wow, pulled back, wrong throttle," pulled back the throttle on the working engine. So the working engine was shut off, and the malfunctioning engine continued to malfunction, and the plane crashed. If you are on a TransAsia flight, get off it. Meanwhile, one of the safest airlines in the world, as Rain Man's Dustin Hoffman's character would tell you, Qantas, had a little bit of a scare last Tuesday on a 747 flight from Sydney to Los Angeles. An in-flight fire occurred. It was sparked by a passenger's crushed mobile phone. According to the Australian Transport Safety Bureau, the passenger's phone became stuck in the reclining mechanism of their seat, and as the seat moved, the phone was crushed. A Qantas spokesperson said that it was the battery of the phone that caused the fire. The phone had fallen down into the workings of the seat, and the passenger, in an effort to retrieve it, had moved the seat and crushed the phone. Because it has lithium-ion battery in it, that then created the risk of the phone actually starting to smolder because of the nature of those batteries. The spokesperson said this was not the first time this kind of incident occurred. They actually mentioned it in their safety video, notifying passengers that if their phone does fall down between the seats, please let a crew member know, and you should not try to get it or move your seat, because if you do move it, you can wind up crushing the phone in a situation that we just had. The smoldering in-flight fire which occurred was extinguished by the crew quickly, and the plane did not have to alter its course. However, the Australians have listed the incident as serious. No kidding, a 747 in mid-Pacific flying at 37,000 feet with an onboard fire. That's serious. Have a good 4th of July weekend. We'll see you July 5th. Thank you for watching.